So are you thinking about coming to the Seattle area, or maybe, just maybe, Bellevue? Bellevue is a fantastic city to the east of Bellevue. It's kind of a Twin Cities type of vibe. So today we are going to go into what it is like to live in Bellevue and whether that's going to be the right choice for you. So Bellevue is actually a fantastic, very popular city, very high end, and if you can afford it, most people love living there. I'm going to dive in on a little about what it is actually like so that you get a feel for whether this place is going to be the right fit for you or not. If it's your first time on my channel, thank you so much for being here. My name is Emily Cressey. I'm a local real estate agent, and my goal here is really to help you get the vibe of each city, right? We can look at it on a map, we can read stats, but until you've actually kind of seen what it's like on the streets, talk to people there, it's hard to really know for sure if it's right for you. So this is a middle ground. We're doing as much as we can on video to show you what it is like to live in some of these areas. So as you are looking at relocating to Seattle, Bellevue, Everett, Tacoma, and kind of comparing all the neighborhoods around here, you can get an idea of just which place is going to be the best fit for you. We're releasing new videos every week, so be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you get alerted when we release something new. And in addition, feel free to write comments here if you have any questions or comments. I actually read those and I will reply, so I'm happy to answer your questions in that way. Of course, if you want to look at homes or do anything like that, you can always reach out to me directly. Okay, so let's dive in on Bellevue. Now, Bellevue actually means beautiful view. It's from the French. And the area was first developed in the early 1850s by a combination of logging and agriculture. It was a rural agricultural area. They actually had a strawberry festival there that they started in 1925, but then they booted all of those Japanese farmers out into internment camps in World War II, and so then they didn't have the Strawberry Festival anymore. Eventually in the 1950s, they incorporated as a city, and in 1963, they built the first bridge from Seattle to Bellevue. So that really allowed the area to start developing more aggressively. And since then, it has really started to boom. It's been rated in the top 10 best places to live by a couple of different resources. CNN Money was one, USA Today was one. So it has a really great balance of natural beauty, access to wilderness, lifestyle, and a high quality of life. In fact, the quality of life is so high that these Bellevue area zip codes are some of the most expensive areas to live in the entire state of Washington. So if you are coming from out of the area and are already kind of in the sticker shock feeling of all of our high-priced Seattle real estate, unfortunately, Bellevue may not be for you. However, if you're coming from California or Hawaii, read on. No. If you can afford a higher price point home and want a really premium location, close to work, close to some of the best outdoor resources as well as city resources, Bellevue is great, and I'm going to go into that, but just beware the median price point home, that means the average, is 1.5 million. Boom! Mind blown in Seattle. So this is not an inexpensive area. If you like Bellevue but can't afford it, we'll talk a little bit later on about some alternative areas that you might want to take a look at. Like I said before, Bellevue was incorporated in 1950 and started to grow after 1960, when a lot of the homes that you see in this area are built in that time frame. One of the most desirable, hottest, most expensive neighborhoods within the Bellevue zone is this area on Lake Washington. We have Medina, Clyde Hill, Yarrow Point. These are all fantastic waterfront, water view types of homes and locations with great access to downtown, where the skyscrapers are. That's what I always call downtown, right? Where a lot of the skyscrapers are in downtown Bellevue, as well as Bellevue Square, which is a fantastic high-end shopping area. So Bellevue Square is kind of like an urban mall. It has some of the best stores in the area, and it's not exactly Rodeo Drive, but you will find those types of high-end retailers like Coach, Nordstrom, those types of things. You'll also find in this area some high-end car dealerships like Porsche dealerships, BMWs, as well as high-end grocery stores like the Whole Foods right there off of exit 14 on the east side of the freeway across from downtown Seattle. Now, Bellevue is very interesting to me in that we have just a few small blocks of the high-rise buildings where all of these tall skyscraper buildings are, and you can certainly find, a $2 million condo toward the top of some of these buildings if you want a great view and an urban experience. But we have these very high-rise buildings in a very finite, small footprint. And then next to that, we have Bellevue Square, which is the big shopping area, like I mentioned before. And Bellevue Square is fantastic. They have a lot of events to bring you in, Diwali decorations, Snowflake Lane at Christmas time where they have actual snow. I think it's fake snow. Not actual snow. They have these snow things that fall down, and the idea is to get people to come and be a part of the community and come shop and eat at the restaurants and that type of a thing here in downtown Bellevue. And then like the next block, they have a huge park and there's grassy areas and it's flat. And then the next block over, they have a Home Depot. On the other side of these skyscraper buildings, they'll have like a residential neighborhood with $2 million homes in it. So it's, although we do have individual footprints and each thing stays in its place, for the most part, it's a fairly compact downtown area with a lot of different things going on fairly quickly. The transitions are fairly quick from skyscrapers to urban. So that being said, Bellevue is actually the third largest city metro area in Western Washington. The largest is Seattle, Washington. That's our biggest city in the whole state, and it is directly across the bridge from Bellevue. We actually have two bridges that span Lake Washington that go east to west between Bellevue and Seattle. So the Seattle city limits have a population of about 760,000. Bellevue, so Seattle's the most. Tacoma, which is south of us, is about 220,000. And then Bellevue is the third largest metro, again coming in just around 150,000 in total population. Some of that, is this city bigger than that city, the population? And it has to do with, where they draw the boundary, right? Like, is this a small city or a big city? Effectively speaking, all of the cities blend into each other. There are some areas between Seattle and Tacoma that are fairly rural. You can find horses and that type of a thing. But for the most part, from Seattle to Bellevue to Everett, we are all packed in with urban and suburban development. You can't really tell that you're going from one city to another to another. It all blends together. It's all developed. And I would say overall the population of this area, it's kind of a diamond. Everett in the north, Tacoma in the south, Seattle in the west, Bellevue in the east. That whole greater Seattle area has a population of around 4 million, making it the 15th largest MSA, which is kind of the city area, how they do statistics, in the country. So if you're wondering if it's a big city, Seattle population, Bellevue population doesn't seem that big as the city itself, but the whole area, yes, it is a big urban developed area, and I would say even more developed than some other parts of the country in terms of population density. We have a lot of people living close together in condos, apartment buildings, high rises, as well as houses on small lots, townhouses, that type of a thing. It's all fairly dense because we have these limitations with our water. Puget Sound on one side of Seattle, Lake Washington on the other, Bellevue on the other side of Lake Washington, and then on the far side of Bellevue, we start to get into the foothills of the mountains. And if you go out east to Issaquah, which is just a little southeast of Bellevue, you'll start to see fog and some of the foothill mountains, bobcats coming down and that type of a thing. So yes, we are constrained by our geography, and that makes it, a dense population in the cities, but really fantastic from a lifestyle perspective. So if you enjoy going into the outdoors, hiking, boating, skiing, there are a lot of opportunities to do that here. Now, our water is cold. We have Lake Washington on one side of Bellevue and Lake Sammamish on the other, which is a smaller body of water and therefore a little bit warmer. But overall, it's going to be fairly cold. A lot of people water ski, jet ski, swim, but they will wear like a wetsuit or even a dry suit if they're going to be out in the water for a long time. In addition, you can go hiking. There are lots and lots of beautiful hikes with waterfalls and groomed trails, parking areas all throughout the Cascade Mountains, and they're just going to be in your backyard there as a resident of Bellevue. There are, of course, lots of city parks with manicured lawns and jungle gyms and play structures for kids and that type of a thing as well. I would just caution you, like I mentioned before, as you go farther east outside the city of Bellevue, you will start to encounter more wildlife. I've seen a bear on the Seattle side, so I'm sure that there are from time to time bear sightings, although mostly what I hear about are bobcats and coyotes. So if you do have pets or are wanting to do anything with outdoor animals, just be aware that that's a danger as you move from the highly urban downtown Bellevue core into some of these more suburban areas. As far as employment, Bellevue is considered a tech hub. A lot of the big companies like Google, Facebook, Amazon are bringing more offices to the Bellevue area, in part to make it easier for people. Traffic is really bad here, and so having a long commute into a downtown area can be a strain. So they're looking at the model of, rather than having everything all in one hub, say in downtown Seattle, they're looking at putting satellite offices in various different locations around the lake so that you can just go to the closest office. My brother-in-law, for example, works at Google, and he lives in the Shoreline area, so he can go to the Kirkland office on the east side north of Bellevue, or he can go to the downtown Seattle office, and there are various in-house buses. The company runs a shuttle that can take employees from one to the other, and you can just sit on the shuttle, and they've got Wi-Fi, and you can work and have that be part of your work day as well. There are over 1,000 different businesses that are headquartered in Bellevue, and a couple of the big ones are PACCAR, Valve, and T-Mobile. And in addition to that, you might have heard of a little company called Microsoft, which was started in Redmond. They have a huge campus and are a major employer, and that's just to the northeast of downtown Bellevue. So a lot of people, especially high-income people, are wanting to live on the east side of the lake. So in comparing Seattle and Bellevue latitude-wise, they're very similar, and they both stretch along their borders of Lake Washington. But I would say overall, Bellevue has a higher median income. I believe their median income there is around $130,000 as of 2020. But the average home price there is $1.5 million, which is very expensive, and it's largely because of these cost of living desirable elements that come in Bellevue. It's much cleaner. Seattle has a lot of problems right now with homelessness, tents, crime, vandalism, graffiti, those types of things. And if you drive from the airport in Seattle up into the downtown area, you will see homeless people, tents, graffiti, all sorts of stuff. It feels like it's been let go a little bit. Whereas if you drive from the airport up until Bellevue, you will not see nearly the degree of those things, if any at all. I rarely see any of that type of a thing. And Bellevue just comes across as cleaner, well-kept, and safer. So from a visual perspective of what you're looking at day to day, as well as the practical perspective, I just drove down through downtown Seattle last week, and I had like homeless guy knocking on my window asking for food, and saw another guy with like no pants on, and just weird stuff is happening in downtown Seattle, and I think a lot of people are trying to escape that by going to the Bellevue side. In addition, I would say the schools are uniformly excellent in Bellevue. So if you're looking for good schools, you can live pretty much anywhere on the east side and be in an excellent school district, which a lot of people are willing to pay a premium for. Going north of Bellevue, you come to Kirkland, Kenmore, and Bothell. In that Bothell area, they have the North Shore School District, which is very popular. Latitude-wise, if you go west toward Puget Sound, you're in Linwood, which the schools are not as strong, and therefore the housing prices are not as affordable. So across the Seattle area, if good schools, good public schools are something that's important to you, you may find that you're paying a little bit of a premium to be in those better school districts. So Bellevue certainly has a lot of really great areas, and of course it attracts some of the wealthiest people in the Seattle area. Jeff Bezos is known to have started out in Bellevue, as well as Microsoft's Bill Gates. He actually went to my high school. There's a building there named after him. I think that was before his reputation started going south. But even back then, there was a girl that went to my high school who said Bill Gates lived in her neighborhood, and he was notorious for speeding really fast on all the streets, and he would get pulled over and get a ticket from the police. And he was so rich that it was really not the cash that was needed to pay the ticket that was the problem. It was the time it would take, that extra 5, 10, or 15 minutes for the traffic stop, that was really problematic for him in his eyes and his lifestyle. So over there on Medina, like I said, Clyde Hill, I have actually another video driving through just some of those neighborhoods. If you want to look at the luxury neighborhoods, it's hard to see the really fancy stuff from the street, but you can get an idea of some of the quiet, older, established neighborhoods, and then some of the lots with really great views there of the water, especially Lake Washington, as well as the mountains. So come check out Bellevue, see what you think. If you can't afford Bellevue, or if it's not quite right for you, I'm going to go into some substitute neighborhoods. So going north from Bellevue, you'll come to Kirkland, and Kirkland is fantastic. It really has almost a beachy vibe to it. They've done a really nice job of developing the downtown area with bus stops, not bus stop, but like a transit center where you can commute from there. They have a library. They have a number of waterfront parks and kind of a main drag, so you can drive north and south through Kirkland and really get a good view of the water. They have Carillon Point, which is a wonderful like business park and hotel area, luxury restaurants. You can like park a boat there. So they have a marina, and you can actually come. One thing I did when I was a kid was we rented a boat, and we boated over to Carillon Point and had a really fantastic lunch there, which made me feel very elegant. And then in addition, they have some pubs, some walkable restaurant areas where you can eat outside on the patio and that type of thing. So Kirkland is really fantastic, especially down at the water. You can get a waterfront condo there, actually built out onto a pier overlooking the water. For, I would say, a one-bedroom or studio, around $600,000 in that area, as well as going east into Redmond and Woodinville. It's very forested, some really luxurious homes built there, and then the possibility of some acreage or horses, just bigger lots in that area, especially as you go out to Monroe, which is agricultural, farmy. That's where the county fair is. And then north into Bellevue as well, very highly regarded school district. So essentially, as long as you're on that east side, you're going to be still in an excellent school zone, and it typically becomes more affordable the farther you move out from the city center. Likewise to the south, Bellevue is really developing. We have Issaquah, which is a popular and kind of has more new construction there because it's been kind of a sleepy mountain town that's becoming more built and more developed in recent years. So new construction there. They have a Salmon Days festival, and they're right in the foothills of the mountains. So if you like to go hiking, skiing, cross-country skiing, golfing, there's some really beautiful opportunities in Issaquah. And as you go down toward Renton, that area, Cougar Mountain State Park is a huge hiking area, and you go down and just, again, wonderful schools. Renton has Boeing and an airfield, so there's the potential there for some noise and some airplane noise and that type of a thing. But it's redeveloping, I would say. I have a new construction home site that I've been looking at there with a client with 2,000 plus square foot homes for 1.2, 1.3 million, that type of a thing, just on the border of Renton on the east side toward Bellevue. So up and coming, redeveloping as you go a little bit farther south. So take a look at those areas and let me know what you think. Again, if you want to look in person, if you're coming to town or you just want to meet me, we can do a Zoom. We can do even Zoom tours of properties in some of these neighborhoods that you might be interested in. So I'm here to help. I'm with HomeSmart Real Estate, and we've always got your back. So let me know what you need. Type in comments, email me, head to the website homeproassociates.com, or give me a call. I'll look forward to connecting with you, and on these upcoming videos we will be exploring more tips and tricks for moving to the Seattle area, as well as some other neighborhoods you might want to check out.